Hey everybody, what's up? It's Scuff D here. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas 2018. It's late in the Christmas day. For some of you, Christmas is over. For some of you, maybe it's just starting. It depends, I guess, on where you are in the globe. Little Christmas present in the shop today. Mortarion the Reaper. I hope everybody had some gems saved up and was able to pick him up. It's rare for a legendary warlord to be in the shop, let alone Primarch. This is the third one I've seen since the game since beta really. So I was able to scoop him up, and the devs did mention on a Q&A in the Discord chat that there was New Year's Eve possibly, so we might see one more Primarch in a week, and who knows. Hopefully it's one I don't already have, but I didn't have Mortarion, so I picked him up. I'm missing Horus, I'm missing Angron, and I am now missing Alfarius. That's it. And then obviously Conrad Kurz will be next. But that's a nice little treat. I've got enough gems saved up, so if anything pops up, I can hopefully pick it up. And I'm also kind of holding out for some legendaries for the Alpha Legion and for the Iron Warriors. But what I want to do a little bit today, this is just going to be a quick little short video. I kind of want to talk about some of the additional changes, adjustments that the developers have made in the game. I don't know if there's anything in the cosmetics here. Okay, so first off, somebody asked in my lodge group. I want to talk about some of the just little minor adjustments, and then kind of mention and discuss a little bit just the importance of your lodge. If you really want to get the most out of the game, having an active lodge, having a lodge that is a good healthy lodge is the way to go, really. So just some information. So this video is going to be short for anybody who's experienced playing the game for a while. Probably not going to be anything new for you. It's okay if you skip it, not a big deal. But some things have been brought up. So we've gone into the cosmetics before, and we've gone into the little doodads here. We've done and shown that. But this new thing here, this assigned to current deck option down at the bottom, this was actually something that's been out for a while, and I just kind of stumbled across it because for the longest time I just had my decks all made, and I had all these things filled out, and I didn't do anything with them. Once I built them, and once I got all the cards in there that I wanted to put, I just didn't touch them. And then I noticed when I was adding some Iron Warriors decks that, oh, lo and behold, what is this? What is this icon? What is this little card back? And it turns out, just a little nice little customization. You can go in here and you can change your icon and your card back for each deck now. So it's not just a one and done. Initially, it was just that was whatever you had picked out. So you can actually change your logo. You can change your, for instance, Abaddon. Go in there, go into my little Abaddon, and I've got it tweaked specifically for that, just to kind of build a little bit thematic. So if I'm playing somebody with Abaddon, it looks like I'm die hard for the Sons of Horus, or for Abaddon specifically. So just something a little neat. You can do that. Same with the card backs assigned to current deck. So if you didn't know that, now you know. It's a very little thing, but it's a nice little cosmetic. We're still kind of waiting to see where they go with the collection and viewing your collection of your cosmetics and your in-game chats. What else? Was there something else on here? Nothing yet. Nothing yet in terms of that. I know they were trying to think of anything else that they've talked about in terms of those. Those are the main things here. We've got the new event out. So let's talk about the lodge. Let's get into that. There's two ways you can go. You can be a casual player. You can say, hey, the lodge I'm in, I'm satisfied with. I just play it occasionally, and that's fine. Or you can want to get more out of the game. Currently, you get more out of the game through lodge points, lodge rewards in the events. There is some talk, I don't know how near in the future it is, where there will be potentially seasonal rewards for the top ranked lodges. As you can see, I'm in Trader's End. That's my lodge. I'll give you a little story about the lodge in just a sec here. But you have to. This is kind of where you have to decide how dedicated or how much you want to get out of it. If you want to get out of it and get the gold crates, got some good loot in it. They give you They give you five tickets. Sorry, they give you 5 tickets, anywhere between 500 to 900 gold, and then various cards. The top 3 crates are guaranteed a legendary. The other gold crates, there is a legendary chance, but it's not guaranteed. But it's a bigger chance than you would get in the red crate. That's what drove me. In terms of, like, I was in a lodge when I first started the game. I played, I don't even remember the lodge's name, but here's the story. It was beta, so a lot of lodges, especially if you're a newer player, you might find that, geez, my lodge isn't very active. I'm commenting in here and I'm only getting 1 or 2 people responding, or it doesn't look like any of these guys are still playing the game. And you can actually go into your lodge and you can view on a member. Sorry, not throwing you under the bus, Agrash, but you can see right here, last login, you can see when they're playing. So you can make sure that they're actually active. You've got the blue trophies, which are showing that they are gaining points in the normal daily play, event play, ladder play. And the gold is your event points, so you can actually see who's playing the events as well. And people who are getting good scores in the events, you want to say, hey, what are you playing? You know, what decks are you playing? Get some tips from them. Hopefully they can tell you what decks are running, what are the best event decks to play. If you're not getting anywhere with your lodge and your lodge members seem dead, it's totally okay to leave a lodge to seek better. There's better lodges out there. The lodge that I was in, you get back to my story, I forget the name of the lodge. This is actually the one reason why I left, besides it being like there was only 2 active members in there, and they didn't play events. They just played the daily. So even the players who were playing, they just didn't want to play the events. But for me, it was a personal preference. Their name was not grammatically correct. And they also didn't have the lodge name capitalized. And it was just a little thing like that. It's like every time I was like, it just doesn't look professional. It just doesn't feel like, it just looks like somebody just typed something in and went with it, and you can't change a lodge name. Once that's it. So I started to look around at the end of the event, and if you leave a lodge during an event, I don't know what happens if you leave a lodge during the event. I know that if you have event points, the lodge keeps those. They don't carry with you to the next one. You've got to start all over again. I don't know if you get a reward from them or not. Generally, for me, whenever we have to move players out of the lodge in the past, I wait until an event is over before we say goodbye to any of those players, just so that way that they get the reward, just to be sure that I don't know if they would lose it or not, but that's just a fair thing to do. So what I did is I was keeping an eye out for 2 or 3 events on the rankings, and you can see here the top 50, and I scrolled through, and some of these names you might see when you're playing the game itself. You might say, hey, I've recognized that lodge name, or you just might see them constantly in the top 50, which is a good sign. And Trader's End at the time was one of those top 10 lodges, and this is way back when. And they had, like, the start of an event, they were already in the top 3. This is like, God, I don't even know. This is before the expansion pack came out. This was still in beta at the time, and I was like, okay, if I can get into Trader's End, they seem like a lodge who's active and plays. So that's what I did. I I just typed in the lodge's name. They weren't open. I don't know how. Somehow I found out you can. I don't know if I fiddle around with it if I would actually end up leaving the lodge. So I'm just not going to go in there. But when you're actually searching to join a lodge, you can look up the region, type in the name, and somehow I found them. And I went in to join. I got in, and then like within that event, I don't know if the event just soured people or the way the game was. Within that event, literally they went from like being an active playing lodge to like 3 members. Like it was just like my previous lodge, and we had at least we had a grammatically correct name with capitalization, so that helped. And like everybody left, and I don't know if they were just in general like, yeah, we're leaving, we're not getting anywhere. That's probably the case. They bugged out or they quit the game. And we didn't have a full 20 members. I think we had like 12 by the time I got in, and within the end of the event we were down to 5, and then 3, and I went from legionary to just like lodge master position has been vacated. Do you want to claim it? And it was just me, and I said okay, and I took it. It's like, well, I guess I have a lodge now. So I opened up the lodge to open, and I just started from the ground up and was more or less like, okay, the loyal are welcome if you're gonna play. So long as you're playing, we want you in if you're willing to play. And I hit the global chat at the time. I was not exposed to Discord, so I just hit the global chat, and I constantly, like every few hours, I put up a thing on there that Trader's End has open positions. I left it open, and slowly we gained people, and those people slowly invited more people, and just active players who were playing at the time, who were all committed to just, we want to play some events, we want to actually play in an active lodge. And every now and then you pick up a player who's really active, who was in the same position where their lodge was vacated, and just kind of built up steam. And then somewhere along the way, I don't know how soon it was initially, maybe God, I'd have to take a look back, but it was probably like around July or August, is when somebody said something about Discord. I'm not sure who mentioned it, and that's when, that's when I noticed, if you don't know, Discord, I've never been on Discord. I didn't know what Discord was, and I was like, well, what is this Discord? Like, it's a chat thing, okay, which, I mean, let's be honest, this global chat, it does the job, but it's terrible. It's terrible. It's limited in its characterization. You're just throwing stuff out there, and it's hard to see who's online, to hold an active conversation or anything like that. So just the option of having like a better way to chat was like, okay, well, I'll go for it. And then on top of that, somebody had said something that, the lodges can have their own channel there as a better way for just the lodge to get on. And I thought, well, that's a good way to go. If you're not on Discord, if you don't know what Discord is, go to this spot. For me, it was a little tedious because, even though I'm streaming games, this is the only game I stream or record. I'm not very super gamey savvy, internet savvy. I don't try to log on to multiple things. I've got Facebook and that's it. Now I have Discord. It took a little bit to get on and in the game or in the Discord, but once I got on there, it was great. It's a great thing. I'll just go into Discord right now while we're here, just for those who aren't familiar with it. Pay no attention to my apps. So this is the Discord. You join and you have access to the general chat. They've got announcements, which are much more detailed than you can get from a message in the game. I mean, for the most part, they do try to convey the same information. However, you get a little bit more updates. You've got the general chat, which is just everybody out there talking about the game. A lot of them are the same players. the people, though, they're very knowledgeable. There's a lot of people joining Discord who don't chat as much, but that's okay. You've got an event chat where people can talk about the event, what they're having trouble with. You've got ranked season, which is more or less like, hey, this is how we're going for this month. Congratulate people on good games. Ask questions. You've got your general balance, where it's just that we talk about balance. People talk about, they call, they complain. For the most part, balance and feedback are kind of like, let's complain here a little bit. Most of it is relevant, but sometimes it's not. You got lore, just a place to discuss the lore. You got feedback, which is really very specific, like, hey, I think I've identified an issue. You just got card ideas, which is, they have contests here where folks can do customization cards. There's a whole separate Discord channel for that. Where they can create their own cards and templates and stuff. And just for fan base, you've got deck building, people throwing out deck ideas. You've got support, which is more or less very actual, like, technical issues and problems with the games. And then you've got your own lodge. And then within that, you've got your dev Q&A. And this is where once every couple of weeks, they open up a Q&A session. They schedule it. They announce it. It's on Discord. I don't know if it's on other platforms, but I'm pretty sure it's just Discord. And this is the chance to ask questions to the developers about specifically what are their plans, what are they seeing in their gaming, what's getting the most play, what's coming out next, what can we expect to be fixed, and they, during that time of the Q&A, they mostly try to respond to as many questions as possible. Sometimes they can't respond in great detail. Sometimes they provide ourselves a little spoilers. Actually, this was the last one was right before Alpha Legion came out, so they gave us a couple little spoilers here of Alpha Legion. I'm trying to see if they gave us some pictures. I'm pretty sure they did, and people were all salivating over it, because that's what we do. I missed this one. I've been in work meetings and trainings and stuff, and no, this is from the last one here, so I must have scrolled past it. I'm viewing older messages, so I didn't get a chance to ask. I got a whole list of things I'd like to touch on. You've got off topic, you've got streams. I post up my stuff here. If you're watching this, you've probably seen it, so you're familiar with Discord. So I don't know if I'm even this might be just redundancy to you at this point, but the point is, Discord, great tool. And within that, there's a channel there for lodge recruitment, which is a much better way to give a detail than the 200 characters that you're allowed here in terms of what you're looking for. We're looking for active players, people who just want to play events. This is where we're at. I throw out where we're ranked, how we've been ranking on ladder, and we weren't number 6 for a while there. I mean, I think we were in the top 30 at some point when we gradually got to 15-ish players who were playing the game actively. And I don't know I don't know if that's ladder or if that was an event, but it was a gradual climb. It was a gradual climb, and you keep throwing it out there. You keep talking to people. You see people who will sometimes post out that, hey, I'm looking for a lodge, and members would see them and invite them over, and you eventually get a full, strong lodge where everybody is on the same page. You set guidelines. Hey, this is how we're going to operate. And that's totally up to your lodge, either your lodge master or the group as a whole. I mean, depending on how you decide, but if you have a lodge where you know what to expect, and you also know what you need to do to meet that, or to invite other people, and you can kind of explain it, it makes it a little bit easier. It kind of sets the expectation for both the lodge and for yourself as well. But more importantly, you know what you're going to get out of it. If you are just going, and there's plenty of lodges, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a lodge that just says, hey, just play the game. That's fine. But if you're looking for lodges that are going to get you more prizes, or you're looking for lodges who have everybody playing the game to some degree, the first thing I'd recommend is either go to the events and look at your top lodges here, and see if they've got any openings, and whether that's through the Discord channel itself or through the global chat, or go here and see these same. Most of these are very much the same lodges. I mean, that's just that people who are playing the game well and good are going to be in the top. We've got to go more into it, some of these lodges here, and we are fairly, I think within the last month or so, we've kind of taken on this. Orion is our auxiliary lodge. And some of the lodges have that, where they have a lodge. We got to the point where we had a full lodge and we wanted to grow stronger. We wanted to have a pool of players who could kind of be committed, and at the same time, if there were players who were getting tired or want to stock up on tickets, could have a lodge to kind of fall back into and not take anything away from the main lodge. So we have an auxiliary lodge arrangement with Orion. Their top 32 was that in ladder, and I want to say they're 35 here in the event. So they're a little bit more casual. And then in the event that we've got at the end of every event, we might see if anybody's ready to come up, if we've got anybody who needs to step back, and work it out in between that. And there's a lot of lodges who do, I believe, and I'm not correct here, but I believe called Kaladabolg, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is the sister lodge of Excalibur. You've got the Lupi. Where are they at? The Invictus Lupi. Pretty much anybody with a Latin word and Lupi, from what I understand, is part of the Lupi organization, or Lupi, if you're familiar with the. That's an inside joke, but that they've got a collective basically, and I'm sure there are others, but those are the only two that I'm very familiar with. I want to say Masterclass has got something. I mean, any of the top lodges are going to have some sort of go-to. Santos Demonius, I don't know anybody from there. Astra Telepathica and Officio Assassinorum. Good lodges. Fragile Art. Fragile. It's Christmas. Is it pronounced Fragile today? Just today. Fragile. Yeah, it must be Italian. Oh, it's a Christmas story. That's a terrible impersonation here, and I have to throw that out there, but goes with the day. Anyways, so you take a look at those lodges. You take a look at where they're at. They're there for a reason. They're there because people are playing the game. They've got good players playing the game, and they're all committed to that. And if you're up for that, if you're not already at that level or in those lodges, then you have to look into that. If you can get into the top, and the top generally have like a ranking requirement, you've got to be above 4,000 points or whatever like that. You might have to work up there sometimes. Sometimes you don't. But getting into an active lodge is the first step. Then taking advantage of the lodge is a really important thing, whether it's through Discord chat, whether if the lodge has their own exclusive channel or some other chat medium that they do. Talk with your lodge mates. Every single one of these guys, and this is just through the course of evolution of Trader's End, we've got on Discord. Some more active than others, but everybody is on Discord. So if we ever need to tag them or mention them, say, hey, what's your status? How are you doing? Haven't heard from you for a while. Or, hey, how'd you get so many points? What are you playing? Everybody there is active, and it's such a valuable tool, because that discussion keeps your mind in the game, keeps you thinking about things that you didn't think about. When new cards come out, hey, here's a combo I saw. Here, I'm going to try this. And then on top of that, it's hard. It's hard organizing practice matches within the lodge. Like, you could just come in and hit the practice icon if you see somebody who's active, but there's no guarantee they're going to bite. But if you've got a chat thing, you can throw out a thing, hey, anybody on? Anybody up for a game? The other day I played Skypoint, but I think is he Skypoint on here? Yeah, Skypoint. I played him for like 5 or 6 games. We just kind of said, hey, we're ready, and just threw up some decks and played, and it was easier to organize that than trying to figure out when everybody's on here, because we've got people from all over the world, and some lodges are exclusive to certain areas. You've got the German Grey Knights. I imagine, and I could totally be wrong here, but I imagine that the Santos Demonius is somewhere in Spain, but I could totally be wrong. There's actually a lodge just called Spain. So if they're in Spain, that would make sense. But, some of them are a little bit more exclusive. You got the Russian named lodges, which I have to imagine are mostly in Russia. If they are, they might have American players too. There's nothing wrong with that. But coordination, communication is really important. And when you start talking with players, it goes with any game. Any game, whether it's a digital game, card game, 40K tabletop game, if you are talking with other players and seeing what them play, you get so much more out of it than just playing the games and then wondering, like, why do I keep losing? How do they keep having this combo? This card keeps destroying my deck. Why is that? And then you get some other ideas, like, hey, well, try putting this card in your deck. What does your deck list look like? You've got too many high cost cards. That card that you've got there might look pretty, but it's not going to do anything for you in your deck. Your deck moves faster than that, or you need some cards that are going to help you pick up and there's so many things that 2 minds are better than 1. 20 minds are better than 1. And then the Discord channel in of itself having an avenue where you have access to all the players that are out there just throwing out ideas. And not all deck lists are revealed. There's some degree of net decking, but really it's just a way to keep your mind in the game. And if you're into that and you want to build as a player, that's just a valuable tool to take advantage of. So that's the story. That's the story in a nutshell of the lodge, of where we come from. And some of those lodges, like I said, with the auxiliary lodge, that's where we take is from Orion. I would believe some of the other lodges you might have to make that entry point through the auxiliary lodge, but those lodges have always got openings. They're always out there asking for players, looking for players who are active, because life happens. There's nothing wrong with that when sometimes people drop out and play, stop playing for a bit, that happens. But those 20 people that I've got in the lodge weren't the same original 20 that we made it up to, but they're all active at this point in time. And I'm pretty proud of where we've come. I mean, that's just, we're not number one. We've been number one in the events. I think I want to say 5. I should have taken screenshots, but I think we hit 5 events in a row where we were in the top 3. And obviously the last 2 events with the new cards, we've got a lot more competition coming on, where people are just hungry for those new cards and getting some legendaries. But we're in the top 6, not just in events, but in ladder, and that's an ongoing thing, and that's something to be super proud of. We've got good players. And when you see your lodge getting those points, you feel good too. You feel proud. So that's my story. Again, this may not be a whole lot of new information for many people out there, but if it reaches one person and gets them thinking about it, and then they can reach out there and get some more people, and that's just, if you want to get to a different place in the game, you got to change your mentality sometimes. Just like those tips say, like, sometimes if a deck isn't working, change your warlord. Well, if your lodge isn't working out for you and you're not getting the most out of it, change your lodge. There's nothing wrong with that. I wish anybody the best who says, hey, I'm going to go with another lodge. If we lost players, I'd be sad to see them go. We really haven't. I think everybody here is happy. I hope. I'm not speaking for anybody. But, that happens. There's some people out there who are just really hungry for it, who, if their chance came to move up to, a number 1 or number 2 lodge, they go for it. But I think they know that we're capable of getting to that point too, so they're sticking it in, and that's good. And, just down there's 50 top 50 lodges. There's probably thousands of lodges out there, but if they're not active and you don't have a lot of members doing anything for you, if your lodge master isn't active, get out of that lodge. And there's nothing against that, but I mean, if you've got an inactive lodge master, that's a duty that they got to be on there, whether in terms of promoting, and promoting doesn't do much. I mean, it basically gives other lodge members the ability to invite and to maintain lodge member status by removing people who aren't active too. But if you don't have an active lodge master, then you don't have an active lodge, because everybody's going to be ranked at legionary, and they're going to be kind of wondering, what the heck, what's the point? What are we doing? What are we working for? Where's the communication? And if you don't have an active lodge master, then your lodge can't get its own Discord chat channel, and that becomes a whole nother battle. And there's just better options. Find those options out there. They don't have to be a top 50, but again, as I mentioned, the top 50 ones are the ones who are playing the game for sure. That there's a guarantee on that. So, anyways, that's it. I'm keeping this video short. Just want to talk about the little cosmetics, talk about the lodges, and wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Keep your eyes peeled. Save up some gems, or at the very most, save up some gold so that you can get some gems. Because I've got a sneaky suspicion that New Year's, whether it's New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, we might see ourselves one more warlord in the shop, and that would not surprise me. There hasn't been any official announcement made, but the devs did mention in their Q&A that they were looking into something for Christmas/New Year's week. It's just day one. What will the future bring? Only time will tell. Anyways, that's it for me. Hope you got something out of it, or if you didn't, we'll see you next time. So keep playing Legions, and we'll talk to you later. All right.